welcome to my tutorial for the Turkish Get Up. So the Turkish Get Up is one of my favourite exercises because it just incorporates so much and the epitome of how I believe nourishing moves should be. It adds strength into your body, adds flexibility and body awareness and control. So it's a real complete exercise on its own. It can be used from people as young as ready to start lifting. It can be used with MMA fighters to help them get off the floor, off the mat. And as importantly in my world, it helps people get off the floor as a skill for life. People in their 70s or 80s who don't quite have the mobility they're used to, this is a brilliant platform to help people stand again. It could be used with people who've got shoulder injuries because it helps to rehabilitate their shoulders. In fact, it did that for me. Back in the day when I was powerlifting, I developed some nasty shoulder injuries and couldn't bench press anymore. And it was the Turkish Get Up that fixed that, as it built strength through a full range of movements. It also shows up movement weaknesses. I know Gray Cook uses it with his athletes as a way of assessing how they're moving and what they need to work on. So this is it's an exercise that's got something for everyone and well worth the effort to learn. So I'll give you a little demonstration as a simple reference for what the Turkish Get Up looks like. And I hope that regular clients of mine who I've programmed this to can use this video as a little reference. But then I'm going to go and talk about the Turkish Get Up in more detail for those that want to master and perfect this lift. And I'll also spend some time showing you some variations of how the different styles of doing the Turkish Get Up and different methods can help improve your technique. Okay, so let me show you what the Turkish Get Up looks like to start with. Okay, so that's the Turkish Get Up. So I'll break the Turkish Get Up now down into 7 sections and talk about each section in a bit of detail. So section 1 is just the floor press, about getting the bell started ready for the lift, about getting your body set up in the right position. So this is how I would start with the floor press. Just laying next to the kettlebell with the feet under the knees. Roll to the side, and this is the important bit because this is the setup. You want to make sure that your hand threads right the way through the kettlebell. So the heel of your hand is on the handle, and then your forearm should be in contact with the bell. And from there, take a really strong, tight grip so your body lights up and it can keep the bell still. Roll your body back to the floor so the kettlebell setting close to you. Keep the same knee bent and the other leg out straight, at a 5 and 7 o'clock position as if on a clock face, and that helps to give you some stability. So the stance isn't too narrow, but at 5 and 7. Use both hands to press the weight overhead, pack the shoulder, draw your shoulder away from the ear so the arm's still and stable. A big mistake I see is sometimes it wobbles around, and when it starts to wobble and roll, you'll lose control. And it's only the kettlebell and the floor in between your head, so it's not going to be nice. So keep it still, keep it stable, and keep the arm locked. It was Pavel that suggested your arm should be like an iron bar, and right the way through to your wrist. There's no bending, there's no option to bend it. So this is the floor press. Okay, so I'll show you the floor press on the other side, and then start going through the stages so you can see how the kettlebell, also the Turkish Get Up works in the different steps. So first of all, I get set up for the floor press with the kettlebell to my side. Press the kettlebell overhead, get the legs set, one bent, one straight, at 5 and 7 o'clock. The free hand goes onto my hip, elbow to the floor, and then I straighten the arm. That puts it in a good position. Okay, so step 1 is the rolling 45. I'm going to punch the kettlebell up in the air as I roll onto my left elbow, like this. and I'm looking to have the wrist, elbow, shoulder in line with the other shoulder, elbow on the floor. I'm also pressing down with the bent knee foot to help give myself a platform to lift from. So up for the rolling 45. Step 3 will be the tall sit. So I'm screwing this hand into the floor to sit up straight. You want to keep the kettlebell, as I said earlier, as still as possible. And by screwing the hand into the floor, it's the perfect way to keep the strength and structure through your body. From the tall sit, you're going to come up to the bridge by driving the backside up high. And you need to come up high with the bridge so you've got room to move into the next stage, where you sweep the knee. So your knee is below your hip. And this is the section which people struggle with the most, because often what will happen is they don't get a high bridge and they can't get the knee through. So work on that bridge, sweep the knee under the hip, keeping your alignment. Then from here we can come up to our kneeling section, where you hinge at the hip and get set. Kettlebell is above your wrist, elbow and shoulder. Tuck the back toes under, press down with both legs to stand, and then you just reverse it. Step back, hand to the floor, keep that kettlebell as still as possible, take the leg out so you're in your bridge again, drop your bum onto your elbow and back to lying. And you can roll to the side to put the kettlebell down. So that's the full Turkish Get Up. So as you can see, the Turkish Get Up has got a huge balance and body awareness part to it. You're moving your body around while trying to keep the kettlebell fairly still. And sometimes what I find can be a good drill for people is to try and balance a trainer on the fist, which teaches you to move really still, because as soon as the fist wobbles, the trainer will fall down. I'll show you the exercise. So just like the normal floor press, I'll roll onto my side, get the body set, turn the hand into a fist and balance the trainer on that fist. There's absolutely no point just holding it, you'll get nothing from that. So you've got to balance it. Into your usual setup position, and then you can roll into your rolling 45, to your tall sit, and continue through the stages. Okay, so that's a useful way to start learning the control. When I was taught this, one of my instructors had me balance a cup of water, which is always a nice punishment for when you get it wrong. If you're outside, yeah, it's a good idea. Gives you a little bit more incentive. And as I did with the presses, if you've seen my press tutorial, to get people to press well, I would get them to hold the kettlebell in the bottoms up position, because you have to keep good alignment. And this works with the get up as well, of course. So you would get set up in the same way, except this time the kettlebell's on its side and you're holding it by the horns. Just keeping your wrist as straight as you can and running through your Turkish Get Up. It's a really challenging move, and you want to use a weight where it's not just relying on grip. You need to keep your alignment. So if you can kind of get yourself out into trouble because you've got a good grip, it's too light a weight. The other version I sometimes use is to add some more strength into the movement, is get people to press the kettlebell in every step. So again, I'll show you what this looks like. So you've got your first press, roll up to your rolling 45, press the weight again to your tall sit and press the weight, aiming to keep your arm as straight as you can. Bridge and press, sweep and press. kneeling, and press, and then you stand and still do the press. Step back, get your press. Okay, so those are some variations to play with. Turkish Get Up's a great movement to put into an exercise routine. Sometimes I'll use it as a warm-up to get the body ready to move. Other times I'll incorporate it perhaps in a complex, maybe with some kettlebell swings. It's also a great movement just to practice every day to help you get up and down off the floor and strengthen, mobilise all the muscles. Of course, make sure you do an equal number on both sides. It should go without saying. Yeah, as I said, a complicated lift, so if you have any questions about this, message me in the comments section. I'll do my best to answer. Thanks for watching, and I hope this video helps.